men were able to get respect before without being rich, right? It didn't matter if you were able to provide it. They respected you because of your character. It was so different, right? And even when women first began to work, it wasn't this bad. It wasn't this bad. There's so many problems with that because it's like if we start getting like, because I always tell people, listen, do the best that you can to earn as much as you want, because it's absolutely an important factor, right? Be the best version of yourself in every form, period, just because you want to absolutely increase the possibility of you obtaining, your best mate. Those are all very important. But it's like, what happens when people start to listen to us and then they all start to increase? What really happens? Does the bar get raised again? Like how are you ever going to be
Yep.
elite? We can't
Yep.
all be
You
elite.
have a new bottom. A new bottom. Yep.
Yeah, there's a new bottom. So
Exactly.
I think we have to go deeper than that somehow. We have to figure out a way for people to appreciate the average man. Like people don't value it anymore. We've switched and it became finances, and that's the reality of it. Purple Pill's right about that. It's the reality that a lot of these women just care about the bucks for real, and that's going to be the primary factor that they look for, right? The new age women, that's how they come. It's unfortunate, but what could we do as men to mitigate that? How do we
There
stop
is no
women from just
mitigating it.
wanting you because
If
how do
they
we
want to
stop
do
that?
that, if women, if what, let's just grant Purple Pill's argument. Most women want the boss. Let's just grant it. There's only a few bosses out there, so all of them chasing the same dude, right? And we
They are.
saying, well, what can men do about it? There ain't shit you can do at that point because y'all all can't be bosses. So what is that? So where does that leave the women and the men that can't obtain it? Do they just be single and not deal with one another, and they both go off into their single world and be awkward ass people who don't know how to deal with the other opposite sex? Or do they find a way to work it out? Because you don't build a planet with only 20% of the people doing all the work and the other ones just sitting on their ass not working. You can't build a society on that. It's not sustainable. So what do we, because we keep talking about it like, oh, well, everybody needs to, you just got to level up and be a boss. Well, everybody can't make it. So where does that leave the other 80% of people? Because it ain't just men that's not gonna get any. Because if all the women, because these women want these same boss men to be faithful and to be and to stay in relationships and not go out and stay, they want faithful bosses. So if these men,
So
if these men live up to that standard and they're faithful and they deal with one woman and there's no more of those men left, and those women then went off and got married to these men, where does that leave the 80% of people now?
And I've heard an alarming stat. I want to know if anybody's familiar with this accuracy. They're saying that 20% of men are creating 80% of the babies.
I'm not.
Yeah, because that sounds pretty disgusting to me.
Yeah.
We do understand that there's two types of men who are getting most of the women, right? You got your Pookies and Ray Rays who just they have enough charisma, enough excitement, right? Enough thrill to get it. And then we have the people at the very top. And there's a lot of men that are in the middle that is having great difficulty obtaining women.
Yeah. I
And
just want to say one thing, and Purple, this is to you. I'm not saying this is the thing that you never heard. I never said you was wrong. But the one thing you say, I talk to a lot. I talk to many, but you didn't present one number, one percentage, one stat to support anything that you said. And that's why people like Sir Hale and other people on this platform said that to you. Now, guess what? A lot of what you said, I agree with. And if you talk to all these people and you have the wherewithal to get this information, bruh, get the numbers. Because numbers don't lie, but the
I
opinions of
have them.
men
Which number do you
are
want?
raw.
Which number do you want? I have all of them. If you watched my show before, you would
Well,
know I'm a
no,
numbers
but
guy, bro. I'm a
I,
numbers guy. So which one do you need?
no, but what I'm saying is that in your argument here, just start presenting them sometime. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm just gonna say I'm not even gonna say there's not stats for everything. There's not a stat for if men are broke and if men are losers. I will give you some. So women are graduating at 60% of the rate compared to men, 40% of the rate from college. Women are out earning men in most major cities in America today. So because of stats like that, yeah, there's an imbalance going on in the household where most women are making most of the money, even if it's just a little bit more, even if it's 70K to his 50K. That imbalance is making it to where men ain't shit. That little 20K imbalance is making it hard for the woman to not have their hypergamy kick in and not be able to accept him being the leader in the household. I talk to women about this on my show all the time. I'll say, have you been with a guy who made 10K less than you, 20K less than you? And they always bring up, yeah, and they will give me personal experiences where they couldn't handle letting him be the leader. And so I'm just letting y'all know from that. And there's some stats. I gave you a couple stats, about the women. So it all comes back to that. It all comes back to women's finances and how much money women make today compared to men. And it all goes back to that. And it wouldn't be this way if it wasn't for the fact that we pushed women to the workforce. We made them, boss babes and all this stuff. And that's what made the imbalance happen. I'm not mad at men. I just want men to be better. To
majority of men,
we can't make men not be, or we can't make women not be boss babes anymore. We can't force women out of the workplace. That's not ever going to happen. So the only other solution is make men the best they can fucking be. And there's nothing wrong with making men better men and making men leaders. Like there's nothing wrong with the things that I'm saying.
Bro, majority of men on average still out earn women.
But even to that point,
regardless,
even to that point, though,
right? But it doesn't matter the tax bracket. There's always more men in that tax bracket than women.
But the bigger point, even if women do out earn, they also carry more of that consumer debt. So it doesn't matter if you're making $70,000, $80,000 if you've got $30,000 to $40,000 in debt. So in talking about numbers, you got to talk about all of it. So on paper, making $70,000, but how much of those student loan payments per month? How much do you owe in credit cards? That's the real stuff we got to get to.
But the woman's not thinking that whenever she's making 70K and he's making 50K.
No, forget the women. I'm talking about us as men. Like I'm saying, if you throw those numbers out there without the other details, you can certainly massage it and paint a picture that doesn't really exist when you really account for the real life, the hole that a lot of our women are in. And the last part is we didn't put women we didn't force them in. If you go back to why they had to get in, it was because of the war. Men came back and they weren't able to work, and so women had to get into the workforce. This is why I believe in the first wave feminism. They had to work to take care of their families. So it wasn't that we were pushing them out and we forced them. It was life. We have the luxury. We have the luxury of talking about this, not really realizing what people had to suffer and why things are the way that it is now. We are just making a mess of stuff right now. But if you really trace this back, it wasn't like this. People understood the value of family, understood the value of a dollar, and understood the meaning of life. We've lost sight of all those things, and that's why we're having these conversations about modern women. You got to have this money, have a big dick, you got to have a great career and be a boss, and then maybe she'll love you and won't cheat on you. Because we are delusional as a culture, because we don't know the meaning of a dollar, the meaning of family, and certainly don't understand the meaning of life.
Let me ask you a question, Purple Pill. Because you said something, right? You said that you asked most women about their experiences when they out-earned their man. Did you ever rebut that and ask them, well, what about the scenarios where he out-earned you? How was that? Why did that relationship fall apart?
Whenever he out-earned them, why did the relationship fall apart?
Yeah.
Multiple reasons. Because he's working too much and not giving her attention. Or,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's multiple
reasons. I get what you're saying. So basically, here's the thing. People are going to come up with a number of reasons as to the reason why they had to leave someone. It doesn't matter whether they rich or poor, richer or poor. It doesn't really matter. If you ask somebody and they have to come up with a reason as to why that relationship break down, they're going to give you a reason. That doesn't mean that the group that they're talking about are losers. Oftentimes, we see that people tend to, from my experience, when I hear people talk about relationships or why their relationships fail, right? They often like to talk about all the negative things that the person opposite of them did, and often want to paint themselves in a veil of virtue, right? So, can you leave room for the possibility that a lot of the women that come on your panels don't really speak in good faith about the men that they deal with?
1,000%. Yeah, no, I want you to understand a lot of this is my bias based off of me teaching men who literally aren't shit. Like I'm constantly talking to guys every day, multiple times a day, that are failures at everything in their life, and I'm trying to pick them up and make them better. So yes, like I constantly am having a bias based off of me seeing that. But man, I just see it everywhere. I'm arguing with the red pill space constantly daily. I just did a debate with Rolo last week, and it's literally a bunch of incel red pillars that were fucking arguing against me the whole time. Y'all gotta understand, like I see a lot of men, and I coach a lot of men. The reason why I even got into this stuff was because I saw there were so many men that were failing at everything in life. Like this is the whole reason why I even got into it. So we might have a panel of men on here on King Talk, and we got some kings here, and there's a lot of good people that watch these channels and stuff. But man, there's a whole section of the internet that is a bunch of actual loser dudes that need a lot of help, bro.